I tried living on $50 a week. Here's what happened. You never really know what you're capable of until you're forced to stretch every single dollar. I gave myself a challenge, live on just $50 for an entire week, no cheating, no last-minute credit card swipes. Just a crisp $50 bill to cover everything: food, transport, emergencies, and daily needs. At first it sounded like a personal finance experiment, but what started as a challenge quickly turned into a wake-up call. This week wasn't just about budgeting, it was about facing habits I didn't even know I had, redefining what I thought was essential, and gaining a deeper appreciation for every cent I usually spend without thinking. What happened over the next 7 days completely changed how I see money, and I'm about to walk you through it. Step by step, let's get one thing clear. $50 isn't much, not when you factor in gas, groceries, coffee runs, and random cravings. So on day one, I made a game plan. I started with the basics: $25 for food, $10 for transportation, and $15 for life happens moments. That meant goodbye takeout, goodbye fancy lattes, and goodbye convenience. I knew this would stretch me, but I underestimated how much it would change me. That first morning, I brewed my own coffee. Instead of grabbing my usual $5 cup, I made oatmeal at home. I packed lunch, and something strange happened. I felt proud, not deprived, not annoyed, just proud that I had taken control. By day two, the reality of how much I typically overspend started to sink in. I walked past restaurants, vending machines, and little shops with snacks I didn't even need, and I realized how often I buy things just because they're there. That $1 here and $3 there, it adds up on this tight budget. I had no choice but to be intentional. Every purchase became a decision, not a habit. I cooked a simple stir-fry that night: rice, frozen veggies, some eggs, and it tasted like victory. Not because it was gourmet, but because I made it, planned for it, and stretched my money to make it happen. Day three was tough. The novelty had worn off, and I felt the fatigue of decision-making. I missed being able to grab a quick snack. I missed options, but I also noticed something. I wasn't starving. I wasn't even suffering. I was just uncomfortable. And that discomfort taught me how often I equate boredom or stress with spending. Normally, when I feel overwhelmed, I spend money: food delivery, browsing Amazon, you name it. But on $50, I couldn't numb my feelings with purchases. I had to sit with them, and in doing so, I started to see spending not as a solution, but as a habit, one I could break. By day four, I hit a groove. I'd prepped meals, I had a leftover bus pass, and I'd spent just under $30 total. I was making it work, but more than that, I started to feel powerful. There's something incredibly freeing about knowing you can survive, even thrive, on less than you thought. That night, instead of spending money to entertain myself, I called a friend I hadn't talked to in months. We talked for over an hour. No transaction, just connection. And it reminded me so much of what we're chasing with money: comfort, connection, control, can be found in simpler ways. Day five brought a challenge. I ran out of fruit and was craving something sweet. My old self would have driven to the store and bought a tub of ice cream without blinking, but this time I had to get creative. I blended up some leftover banana with a bit of peanut butter and a dash of cinnamon. It wasn't a Dairy Queen blizzard, but it satisfied the craving, and more importantly, it reminded me that resourcefulness is a muscle we all have, but rarely use. When money is easy, being on a budget forced me to think creatively, not just about food, but about everything. By day six, I had about $7 left. That might not sound like much, but in this challenge, it felt like a surplus. I realized how easy it is to blow through $50 without a second thought. But when you re-intentional, it stretches. I did. Spent most of my money on ingredients that could be reused: rice, oats, beans, eggs, and frozen veggies. I'd skipped snacks, avoided takeout, and walked instead of driving when I could. And here's what shocked me: I didn't feel deprived anymore. I felt in control. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't worried about my bank account. I wasn't wondering where my money went. I knew every single cent had a job. Day seven arrived, And honestly, I didn't want it to end. Yes, I missed the convenience of spending without thinking. But I also felt stronger, more focused, and more grounded. That final day, I made a mental list of what I'd learned, and it wasn't just about money. I learned that comfort can become a trap, that convenience is expensive, that self-control feels better than indulgence. And most importantly, that I don't need to be rich to feel rich, I just need to be intentional. So what happened when I tried living on $50 for a week? I discovered that most of my spending had nothing to do with survival and everything to do with habits, emotions, and convenience. I realized that I'd been using money to avoid discomfort, boredom, stress, loneliness, when I could have been solving those things in healthier ways. I uncovered a sense of gratitude for the basics: food, shelter, connection, and I redefined what enough really means. But here's the thing, this challenge wasn't about staying poor or glorifying struggle. It was about proving to myself that I have the skills to survive. No matter what, it was about regaining power over my money. And now, even though the week is over, I've carried so many of these lessons forward. I cook more. I waste less. I track my spending. I ask, do I really need this? Before I swipe. And you know what? I'm saving more than ever. Not because I make more, but because I spend with intention. If you've ever felt like your money disappears before the week is over, try this challenge. Even just for a few days. Give yourself a hard cap, $50, $100, whatever, and see what happens. Not just financially, but emotionally. Watch how your mindset shifts. Watch how your habits surface. Watch how resourceful you become. You'll learn more in a week of restriction than in a year of autopilot spending. And if you're someone who's struggling right now, living paycheck to paycheck, feeling overwhelmed, I want you to know you're not alone, and you're not alone, and you're not powerless. The ability to budget, to plan, to adapt, it's not about income level. It's about mindset. You don't need a six-figure snailage to build a strong foundation. You just need the willingness to start where you are. So here's your action step. Try your own version of the $50 challenge. Document your journey. Track every dollar. Reflect on what it reveals. And drop a comment below. Tell me what you learned, what surprised you, or even what you struggled with, because this isn't just about surviving on a small budget. It's about building resilience, awareness, and strength, $1 at a time. If this story helped you think differently about money, hit that like button. Subscribe for more real-world financial challenges, strategies, and mindset shifts that help you take control of your money and your life. And remember, you don't need more money to feel rich. You just need a plan, a mindset, and the courage to start.